Chris Stigall, just outside of Philadelphia at Soul Joe's Comedy Club and Lounge, where you are, first of all, you're up way too late because you are the morning man on our Salem radio station there in Philadelphia. What are you doing up so late there at Soul Joe's, Chris?
We're doing the coolest thing, Larry. So I'm inside this is a brand new comedy club outside of Philadelphia in a town called Royersford that opened this year in the middle of COVID, a comedy club.
Oh, man. Right. Timing.
But here's what Joel, who owns this place, did. He said, well, I've got all this property next to the building. Why don't I just bring in buckets and buckets of sand and build a stage and we'll just do it outside? And so all summer long throughout COVID, they have been having these beautiful outdoor comedy shows. And I interviewed him on our radio show. And I said, Joel, what if we did a debate watch party outside? He loved the idea. So we were originally scheduled to do this for the first presidential debate. And, we had almost 200 people sign up to come. And then we had a hell of a rainstorm come through here, Larry O'Connor. And I have to tell you that I'm actually very glad it rained because that was an excrement show that I'm glad we missed anyway. I think tonight is going to be much more positive.
I think it will. So you've got a whole crew there. You've got like a bunch of Chris Stigall show listeners assembled outside right now, watching watching us.
Yeah, they're watching us on an inflatable screen outside on the sand outside this building. I had to come in here for the signal. But the funny thing is, that audience out there, they're exclusively my podcast listeners, Larry, and I understand our ownership group, our Salem media overlords, God love them, they said, yeah, we have attorneys, and there's this thing called COVID, and so we don't want anything to do with you, you super spreader. And I said, okay.
It's a great opportunity to let everyone know that whatever is going on there at Soul Joel's Comedy Club has absolutely nothing to do with the Salem Media Group, Townhall Media, or frankly me. I had nothing to do with this. All of you people are on your own. In fact, where's my mask?
People wear your mask to keep me safe or something like that.
Yeah, something. Well, we are right now around, I'd say about 25 to 30 minutes away from this debate beginning. And you're right, our first debate, and by the way, just for everyone watching across the entire Town Hall media platforms and Facebook Live and YouTube and everything, last week at the presidential debate, it was Kurt Schlichter and myself, and we did the whole Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing during the debate. And Chris, you'll be surprised to learn that between Chris Wallace and Joe Biden, although not so much Joe Biden, and the president, we really didn't get a word in edgewise. During the debate, there wasn't a whole lot for us to say.
That can't be. With Kurt Schlichter, that wallflower, are you kidding? Wouldn't you love to see Kurt moderate a debate? I'd love to see Kurt Schlichter moderate a debate.
I would love to see anybody else moderating a debate, frankly. But yes, no, that. So tonight we're going to give you our pre-show analysis. We're going to have a little bit of fun and get ready. And then when the debate begins, we're out of here because there's no room for us to be commenting during the debate. And to that end, Chris, what are you expecting tonight? Because I'm very fascinated by these two and how they might compare, because they are. Unlike, Trump and Biden are also on ideological polar opposite positions here, but Trump is not an ideologue. He's not a one of those principled, valued, I've been a conservative since Ronald Reagan kind of guy. That's who Mike Pence is.
That's right. I am a little nervous because I saw Paul Sperry tweet moments ago about the moderator this evening, which is Susan Page of USA Today, I believe. And I saw this. She is currently working on Pelosi's bio, Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi and the Lessons of Power. Her agent is something called Javelin. Records show that Page's son and stepson have given hundreds of dollars to support Joe Biden's campaign. I guess we're not surprised by that at this point. I don't know.
We're not. So just a couple of things. Javelin, you said? Javelin Javelin specializes in political books, and I'll let you. I mean, they do conservative authors as well, and conservative political. There are people in D.C. that work for Javelin that book guests on my radio show, so I wouldn't hold that against him. And the argument, I have seen this, and what this moderator tonight will tell you is, oh yeah, that's true. I wrote a book about Nancy Pelosi, but I also wrote a book about First Lady Barbara Bush. So there you go.
Yeah,
I'm not fine.
On balance, I don't find her as objectionable. I don't know what you think about Susan Page. I don't know much about her. She doesn't seem to be as ferocious a partisan in her commentary on places like Fox, but I don't know. I wonder
if to be a ferocious partisan. That's the problem. You don't have to be ferocious. All you got to do is put your thumb on the scale.
What would you tell Mike Pence? I mean, if Mike Pence asked you, Larry, what's the first thing I ought to address tonight? How do I come at Kamala Harris? What would you tell him?
I'm glad you asked. I actually have, I think, brilliant strategy for Mike Pence. I doubt he will take it. And this fits perfectly with your great setting there at Soul Joel's Comedy Club and your very boisterous podcast crowd out there.
I'm told we just connected, so they're watching. They're literally about to hear your brilliance just in time.
All right, this is my strategy for Mike Pence. Every time he's given the opportunity, he should give the shortest answer and then use the rest of his time to tell a joke to Kamala Harris to make her laugh. Because the more she laughs, we need her laughing as much as possible tonight, because that'll be it. That nobody wants to spend 4 years with that laugh, Chris. So Pence should do stand-up. He should do Sam Kinison or something and just get her rolling on the floor, and it'll be over.
The thing about her, it's a lot like Hillary. I don't know that they naturally have the ability to laugh. I think that was created in a lab. I literally think scientists hardwired Hillary and Kamala with some kind of tripwire function. Ha 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 ha!
Right. They're in the lab making it.
Remember the end of the original Batman when the Joker fell to his death, Jack Nicholson, and there was that laugh box. That's how they laugh. Those two.
That's Kamala Harris's laugh and Hillary Clinton's laugh. Yeah. So that's my first bit of strategy. The other bit is I would just keep pressing her on all the things that she refuses to answer. Have you ever seen a cat? Everyone's saying, oh, they're dodging and they're being evasive about packing the court or what kind of justice they would nominate and things like that. They're not being evasive. Chris, in politics, when you're evasive, you're like, well, I'm still giving that some thought and I'll consider that, a little later on the line, or, this is something that we take very seriously and it's under consideration. That's evasive. What they are blatantly saying to the American people is, oh, we know exactly what the hell we're going to do with stacking the court. We know exactly what our plans are, but we refuse to tell you because we don't want you to know. And I hope Pence just keeps following up on that every single time he has a chance.
I agree. I like that a lot. And you know what else I'd like to see him do is remind us all of that poor little black girl who was bused to school, and how that mean top of the ticket she's written would have kept her from the bus. I hope he continues to remind her what a racist she said he was the entirety of this evening.
That would be great. I'd just like to take this opportunity, Senator Harris, to say thank God your running mate, Joe Biden, was not able to get that constitutional amendment against busing passed in the 70s that he wanted to do, because that little girl was you, Kamala.
I would just like to welcome that little girl to the debate stage tonight. It's an honor to debate her, because Lord knows if Joe Biden had his way, you not only wouldn't be here, you wouldn't have been on that bus.
That would be a great move. And do you think Pence has it in him? Pence comes across as so mild-mannered and so straight-laced, and he is those things, although I think it's accentuated to such an enormous level because he's next to Trump all the time. In other words, I don't have a whole lot of hair, all right? My hair is thinning, and I'm working on it, but next to you, I look like Fabio. You know what I mean? And that's what we're working with here with Pence and Trump.
So you just compared our follicles to Pence and Trump? Is that what you?
Yeah,
hair follicle. Okay.
And me to Fabio.
You did that, didn't you? Well, no, it's funny. Everybody said when Pence was the pick, right? They always talk about the one of gravitas. I think what's going to be interesting tonight is he's the face of the COVID relief effort, right? And so you can imagine that they're going to pound COVID. I will be honest with you. If one of these two guys is talking about COVID, I'll just be blunt. I would rather it be Mike Pence. I think he's going to just knock it out of the park tonight.
He knows his shit. And he was in every meeting with Fauci, and he will be able to quote Fauci verbatim. And is that, you know what, I was sitting there with Dr. Fauci. I was sitting there with Dr. Birx. And this is what we knew at the time. And this is what no, you're right. And I hope he's I hope he's not defensive at all about that. By the way, I don't know if oh, go ahead.
Well, I haven't talked to you since the president was admitted into Walter Reed and apparently has successfully battled back COVID. Do you think that's a net? I mean, the freak out reaction was understandable. We knew that was coming. I mean, the exploding heads, him telling people not to be afraid when they've built a cottage industry on fear for 7 months. Understandably, they're going to freak out and their heads are going to explode. But do you think that was a Churchillian kind of moment? Was that while the bombs fall, as he's actually made the analogy, but in real time now, he's standing in the COVID fight. He had COVID. He's telling people we're going to be okay. Was that important or was that a mistake? I can't figure out which yet, but it's can only be one.
I think, Chris, I didn't know myself until the tweet that he sent out before he left to go back to the White House, and then the speech that he gave, or the video he gave, when he repeated, "Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't let it dominate your life. Be careful." Everyone forgets that part of it, by the way. He said, be careful, but don't let it paralyze you. And that's what struck me, is that we now have two messages. We have a message from the President of the United States, who, by the way, just got the virus and is still recovering from the virus. And he's saying, yeah, it sucks. I didn't feel good. Don't be afraid. We got this. We'll be able to get you through it. The survival rates are amazing. Don't let this consume your life. And we've got another message on the other side from the vice president, from the Democrats, and more importantly, from the media, who demand that we are afraid, who are angry at you if you are not afraid. And I don't know, maybe I'm still naive about the American people, but we have a spirit, we have a spunk, as Ed Asner would say. And I think that that's a compelling message. I don't think it was planned. The conspiracy theories, he got himself infected on purpose. I'm not buying any of that, but I think he handled it in the perfect way.
I tend to agree. That's my instincts tell me that's true, that people want to know that their president is, one, well and healthy, but two, now that he's internally faced it himself and still communicates, I'm 74, I like my Big Macs, I got through this, you will too. And by the way, that is the message from 99.6% of this country. You're gonna get through it. And the fear that's been injected in you is unnecessary. So I like it very, very much. Here's the thing that I wish in these closing days that the president could do better. And I've been pounding this, certainly here in Pennsylvania. I want to hear him go to the suburban mothers and fathers, parents with kids who are locked behind screens. These people that are working and schooling around their dining room tables day after day, week after week, month after month. It's a malaise. We're stuck in amber. We're like the mosquito in Jurassic Park. This just isn't ending. And kids are stressed and sad, and parents are stressed and drunk and sad, and there's depression, and it's bad, Larry. And I don't mean to be a sad sack, but it's bad. And I want the president to say it. I want the president to say, I know this sucks. And I disagree with keeping your kids out of school. I know what this is doing to your home, and I don't support it. And I reject it, and your governors should send your kids back to school and encourage that to happen right now. I want that connection made, and I don't feel like it happened yet.
I think you're right. I think he should. He came close to that at the last debate, where he said, he wants more closings, which is true. I mean, Biden was basically saying, we need more shutdowns. But you're right. It needs to be clearer. We are just a little over 10 minutes away from the debate beginning tonight, the only vice presidential debate between Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris. I'm Larry O'Connor from WMAL in DC and KBC in Los Angeles, and I'm here in Washington. That's Chris Stigall from the Great Chris Stigall Show podcast, and he's live with his podcast audience at Soul Joe's Comedy Club and Lounge. By the way, what will you, first of all, if people are watching us right now across the entire Townhall platforms on Facebook, YouTube, and on the website, and they want to get out there to Soul Joel's tonight, what are you guys going to be doing? What do you expect to are you going to be doing a running commentary, or what's your plan tonight?
No, we have it's a gorgeous night. First of all, it's like 73 degrees outside and a little bit of a breeze. You just couldn't have had a better night for tonight. We have a projection screen up on a big inflatable 25-foot screen. So we got a big beach sandy area that people have brought their beverages of choice. Think of it as a beach tailgate. That's what we're doing. I brought, by the way, on my website, I've manufactured some masks that you can go purchase if you'd like at chrisstigall.com. But I'm giving some away tonight. The COVID 1984 masks, as well as the Dictator Made Me Wear This mask, which is a crowd favorite.
I like that, especially in your state. Yes.
He's the worst.
Right. By the way,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Finish your thought. He is the worst. You're absolutely right.
He just rolled out yesterday with a very generous 15% crowd capacity if you're 0 to 2,000 typical crowd capacity in an arena or an event space. But if it's 2001, it's 25% if it's 0 to 2,000. It's 15% if it's 2001 to 4,000, and so on. Where's the math on this? I don't understand the math, but they came up with this little chart of who could be admitted by percentage dependent upon your maximum capacity posted. He's stupid.
Pretty bad. I do have to say, though, Gavin Newsom is really giving him a run for his money out in California. There's between Pennsylvania and California, it's ugly. Did you see the move the Trump campaign did today? I don't know if you saw this. It happened late in the afternoon, and you're a morning guy, so you have to take a nap. They left a ticket at the door and reserved a seat in the audience. It's a very small audience because of COVID-19, but the Trump campaign left a ticket and a seat for Tupac Shakur. Did you see this?
I did not see this. Really?
Swear to God. They left a ticket and they have a seat for Tupac Shakur. Of course, the greatest living rapper, according to homegirl Kamala Harris.
I would love it if wouldn't it be great if Mike Pence opened by acknowledging that and then maybe said a few words about Eddie Van Halen and then just watch Kamala squirm because she knows nothing about either of them, and she doesn't.
That's right. That would be great. You mentioned Mike Pence. I wanted to come back to this. I'm sure you've mentioned it on your show because, it's something that we can all sort of brag about. Before he was vice president, before he was governor of Indiana, before he was congressman from Indiana, Mike Pence was a radio talk show host.
Yes.
He knows how to communicate a message. He knows how to use language. He knows how to go with the flow. And I would think, I'm sure he was pretty good at the time. He was on WIBC, the biggest station in Indianapolis. Our friend Tony Katz does mornings there now. He can roll with it. You throw something at him, boom, he should be able to come right back up if he's still got the chops, and I think that's a muscle you never really get rid of.
I do too. And the thing he does better than me by a lot, we're all, when you do this long enough, you get good at parrying and, spitting back and things. He does it calm. Just steady and smooth. Now I start getting sweaty and screaming and, animated and spitting. Pence doesn't do right. I'm from Philadelphia. Yeah. That's not Pence is so decorous and chivalrous and respectful and calm. He's unruffled. So he can parry and dodge and thrust, but he can do it all the while sounding kind of like your dad tucking you in after a long day. I love that.
He's got a bit of a Reagan. he's got a bit of a Reagan thing to him. He even does the little head tilt, he does that sort of thing sometimes. And it's very Midwest.
And Kamala Harris runs the risk of coming off extraordinarily nasty and mean-spirited if she's not careful, because of his demeanor. That will bring out in her, if she's not careful, that viciousness that she displayed during the Kavanaugh hearings. I would hope she was counseled to avoid that delivery, because if she gets near that versus Pence's demeanor, it ain't gonna be good night for Kamala.
Yeah, I'll tell. Let's in our final. Where are we here? They are giving instructions to the audience right now. Everybody has giant masks on their face, it looks like. We're about 5 minutes away now from the start of the debate. My God, seriously, biggest mask you'll ever see in your life. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Listen, these are racially charged times, and Kamala Harris is a black woman. And Mike Pence, the white hair makes him look even whiter than he is, but he is a very white man. And he also has, sort of the stiff Midwestern kind of, he's a white guy. And Kamala is going to come in with that. Yeah. And Kamala is going to have that California black woman sort of groove that she puts on when it's effective. And she will definitely be doing it tonight. I wonder how the reaction will be to these two individuals across racial lines here, that there will be animosity toward Pence just because he's not cool enough. You know what I mean?
Here's what I promise is coming. Make book on it. I don't know when it comes, but it's coming, and it's coming hard when it comes. Pence is going to remind the black population in this country how she made a career out of locking black men up for minor pot offenses in California. He's going to hit her right between the eyes with that. It's coming as sure as I sit here. And then he's going to remind everybody how Trump has engaged in great prison reform and other policies that have benefited, and in many cases sprung otherwise unjustly prosecuted and convicted blacks in this country. Yeah. Pence is going to remind Kamala of that, and she's going to sputter and stammer to explain what Tulsi Gabbard. Remember what Tulsi Gabbard did to her? Pence remembers that. Tonight. Oh yeah. He's going to club that again. It's coming again.
And by the way, you'll know. I think you're right, and I hope he does. You will also know if Mike Pence and the team there came to play if he brings up, and God, I hope he does, the fact that Kamala Harris encouraged people to raise money to bail out violent rioters and arsonists in Minneapolis, and some of the people that benefited from the money she raised, like child sex crime criminals and the such. That's no one. She hasn't sat for any legitimate interview, Chris. This is the first time she's facing any tough questions, and they have to come from Mike Pence. And I hope that if he brings that up, they came to play.
He'll flummox her. I have supreme confidence in what Mike Pence is about to do. Supreme confidence. It's going to be a good night for him.
Think about this. And we're minutes away. Susan Page is now taking her seat at the podium, at the desk for the moderator. That's usually a signal that the anchors across networks are doing their intro, and we're just a few minutes away from the introduction of the candidates. Of course, they won't be shaking their hand, shaking each other's hand. They're going to get right down to business. Think about this real fast. Kamala Harris in California, they use a jungle primary. So sometimes the last couple of elections she's had statewide, she has run against another Democrat. Republicans have not. So she has not actually debated a sound, strong, articulate Republican in over 10 years. And even then, the Republican was a California Republican.
Well, that's right. She's been very protected, and in fact, she's the one that landed the blows during the Democrat primary against the guy she's now on the ticket with. So she was celebrated. I mean, it's funny. We forget she was celebrated as the one who was supposed to come out of this and be the nominee.
Oh yes.
I mean, she had such a clear path, and she was the one that punched. She was the puncher. I mean, everybody else was trying to deflect her. So you're right. She's never been challenged, and she's the one that's always been throwing the haymakers. I don't think she's ever taken legitimate punches from an adversary. Maybe ever. I don't know. Maybe in her California races, maybe, but tonight she's going to get it.
Tulsi Gabbard was the only one, and that was an attack from the left, from the traditional left, I should say, even though those positions on criminal justice reform have certainly become part of the Trump agenda. But from a conservative perspective, Mike Pence is the man to do that job. And let's not forget, Mike Pence absolutely cleaned Tim Kaine's clock. It wasn't even close. He dominated that debate 4 years ago. He's ready. He absolutely is ready. It should be interesting. It should be interesting. I mean, sadly, I think we're lowering expectations for Kamala Harris here, and we don't mean to, but we have great expectations tonight. I think you and I both do.
I do. I'm eager to see it unfold. We need a substantive debate, and we're going to get it tonight.
Well, listen, we are 4 minutes away from that debate beginning. You have a crowd of rabid Chris Stigall fans waiting for you to go out there on Soul Joel's Beach at the Comedy Club. I appreciate you joining us. And for all of you watching across the Townhall media platforms, we've got the debate coming your way. Watch our live blog with Katie Pavlich and Matt Vespa and Storm Paglia and the entire team there at Townhall. And thank you for all your support. And Chris, have a great time tonight. And I can't wait to hear you tomorrow morning on your show. Not Larry, that this has anything to do with your morning show.
No, it is not anything to do with my radio show. Thank you, Larry.
Take care, Chris. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Enjoy the debate.